Well, Jim Brown is, by any measure, and with apologies to Jerry Rice, the greatest football player to ever live. And last night, he was honored by Sports Illustrated with the Muhammad Ali Legacy Award in recognition not just of his athletic achievement, but also his leadership as a lifelong social activist. Mr. Brown shares the award with a few other folks perhaps you've heard of, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Russell. And coincidentally, the three met in 1967 to support Muhammad Ali's fight against induction into the U.S. Army as a conscientious objector to the Vietnam War. And it begat one of the great photos by any measure that we may ever see. And it is my honor to welcome Jim Brown here on set. Mr. Brown, thank you so much for being here
Well,
today.
thank you very much for having me. That was quite an introduction.
Well, you've lived quite a life, I think it's fair to say. I do want to ask you, though, about this gentleman first and what it was to receive a legacy award in his honor. What was Muhammad Ali and all that all of you stood for? What was it to you?
He was the heavyweight champion of the world, and he was bold and brash and correct and courageous, broke down so many barriers, created so many controversial situations, but made the country a better country because he was an international figure, great fighter, good looking, great personality, and proud of being a black man in this country, but did not like the conditions and always fought against discrimination and always fought for equal rights for everybody. And really, contrary to what people think, he was not a person that just liked black people. He liked all good people.
And he, not unlike yourself, was willing to sacrifice, for him, the height of his athletic powers,
Yes.
to stand on principle.
Yes. Well, you know, the one thing we all have in common is that no one can take our integrity away from us. And, you know, all of the glory of being a athletic star doesn't measure up to being a man. You know, so we weren't asking for anything that anyone else shouldn't ask for. We just wanted to be a part of the real deal, you know, treated with the same respect we treat anybody else.
And certainly there were platforms that were provided. I was struck, in fact, race relations has always been a cause of yours. It's an issue that you discussed with Lyndon Johnson at the White House 24 days after he'd been sworn into office, obviously following the assassination of John F. Kennedy. What do you remember about that conversation?
Well, I remember that I liked him, and I knew he would be a great hero of mine, but a lot of other people might not realize what he did. The thing that I remember about him mostly is that he sacrificed his political career to do the right thing when he signed the Civil Rights Bill. And that was big. And he was a Southerner and all these different things, so he broke all the barriers, and he had the courage to sign that bill. And that was a great part of our history.
And it does seem to be, again, that which you shared, the sense of sacrifice for the greater good. I know, look, social justice has really been something that you focused on your entire life. So as we look now, the end of calendar year 2016, how do you think we're doing?
Well, I'll tell you, we are in trouble. We have a polarized country right now. We are not using the right ingredients. The only thing that's going to work now is man's humanity to man, caring about people, caring about each other, rebuilding a sense of togetherness. Now there's a sort of a sense of separation all over the place. And we need to come together on a spiritual level, really, because the nuclear situation that's no answer. And you have these little wars everywhere. And people have forgotten how to really just be good human beings, you know. With me, at my age, I want to do everything I can do for the big picture, but the small picture is how I treat other people, how I treat my family, how I treat other human beings. And that's just as important as me working on the big picture.
Do you see another generation of Jim Browns, of Muhammad Ali's to come along and to take up that mantle?
It's a great question. And I'm so glad you asked me, because I just talked to Ray Lewis last night. I will be with him today. And he is what I call the young generation. You know, we've passed the torch. I've passed the torch to him. Curtis Martin, that played with the Jets. LeBron James, who's a wonderful human being. You know, he's so respectful and so powerful. Serena Williams, who's spoken out. So you have a generation now that is really ready to do great work. But the ironic thing about it is that we were sort of educated to the social situation, and these youngsters that now want to do something great, they have to catch up on educational level so they can work together and really make their power of persuasion and their resources, their collective resources, work for them. But I think they're on their way.
But that power, it is needed in a time like this. For our viewers, perhaps, who don't understand, you walked away at the height of your powers. You set a record for career average yards gained on the ground that will never be broken. It's the DiMaggio streak of the NFL. But when you did it 50 years ago, you said this: I wanted to have a hand in the struggle that was taking place in our country, and I had that opportunity to do that. You said, I quit with regret, but not sorrow. Does that still, 50 years later, hold true?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which is my way of asking you about football, because I can't not if you're sitting in the chair.
I was looking at the pictures you all had. There was one very nice. But, you know, it's like putting things in perspective. Appreciating football was a level of satisfaction, to compete, to be able to be successful, to take the hits, to take the criticism, to, you know, take failure, and to enjoy success was a wonderful thing. But it takes a secondary position behind being a man, standing for something, contributing to a country, contributing to poor people, to understand racism, to hate racism, but yet to work with people, to study the history of a country that slavery was a great part of its economic development, the humiliation, degradation of slavery, and yet to understand that I was an American, it's the best country in the world, and to sit back on my butt and complain would not do a doggone thing. But if I would be active and do everything that I could do, then I would be a part of progress. And progress is what we had to deal with, because it was not going to change in 1 second. You know, immediate gratification was not going to be in the game. And to all of these years, be looked upon as a person that had that consciousness. And that feels much better than the fact that I ran a few touchdowns.
Fair, very fair. But I know that you said that you appreciated the platform that it did provide. And I wonder if you looking back now, did you ever think that 14-team league, without a Super Bowl yet, without the TV money that entered the game and turned it into what the NFL is now, did you ever think that football was going to be then what it is now to this country?
No, I never thought it would be as big as it is. I never thought the resources would be as huge as they are. I think that the godfathers of the league did a great job in manipulating things and understanding what was coming. You know, the technology situation, we didn't know too much about it. How to televise games, how to present them to the public, how to expand it, how to develop stars. That all took a lot of very smart people. And it worked. It really became my number one sport.
And built on the shoulders of folks such as yourself. In the end then, we talk about a 9-year slice of a life that has meant so much to so many for so many other reasons. When you look back on your life then, is it satisfaction that you feel? What is it that you feel, and what's still to come?
That's a great question. It really is. And you must know I'm 80 years old, because that question fits well for an 80-year-old man. I'm very clear. I'm as clear as you can be. I have 2 young kids that are beautiful, and I have a beautiful wife. And I have other kids that are grown. I have also a lot of things that I lived and so forth. But that's my life on a personal level, my wife and my 2 kids. Fortunately, when I leave here, whether it's tomorrow or the next day or whatever, however, they will be taken care of. They will have their dignity, they will have their home, they will have their ability to live. And I'm so happy about that. And then the other aspect of it is that I still have enough juice to contribute to the life of others. I have a position wherein I can be effective working with other people to make it better for our normal citizens. And the respect that I get, I can go into the inner city, into the ghettos, into the area of poor people, and they will respect me because they know that I care about them and that I work for them. So my life is real clear. I work for others. I want to be a better person myself, and I love my family, and I love the fact that when I leave, their future will be secure.
That's a beautiful sort of clarity, and certainly the notion of leaving the world a better place than we found it has marked your life and times. Jim Brown, I cannot thank you enough for spending some time with us.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations on this.
You're a very sensitive, intelligent man. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.